There was a time when workers had all the power. Bosses were the ones begging. Then something happened and they lost everything. Pigeon has to go back in time and see it for himself. So he builds a time machine out of an old microwave. Then he presses the button. Something goes wrong. A dinosaur is staring at him. What? I didn't mean that far back. Wrong place. Way too scary. Where's my time machine? New stop. Sand everywhere. Giant pyramids. Okay, at least they have pigeons here. But nobody's getting paid. A pharaoh points at Pigeon like, "You, carry that." Pigeon goes, "No thank you, sir. I'm just visiting." Wrong place. Wrong time. Third stop. England. The year 1348. Cold, muddy, smells like wet sheep. Everyone has bad teeth. Pigeon steps out into the mud. He's a little lost and he's very cold. And he's about to see something that makes zero sense. This is where things get weird. In 1348, something terrible lands in England, the Black Death. The plague moves fast and it kills on a scale nobody can picture. Across Europe, somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 of everyone dies. In England, the numbers are brutal. Before the plague, about 4.8 million pigeons. 3 years later, about 2.6 million. Some towns lost half their pigeons in a few months. Pigeon looks around the half-empty village. This is horrifying. But then something happens that nobody planned for. First, you have to understand life before the plague. A serf was basically stuck, born on a lord's land, worked that land, died on that land. You couldn't leave for a better boss. There was no better boss. There was just the boss. Pay was whatever he decided, and you smiled and said thank you. Pigeon asked, "So what's the career progression?" The boss pointed at an older guy with back pain. That was just how life worked, until half the workers vanished and the whole thing flipped. Suddenly, workers were rare, and rare means valuable. For the first time in recorded history, a serf could just leave. Bad pay at this farm? Walk to the next one. They'll take you. They're desperate. The landlords lost their minds. Workers demanding more money. Workers just not showing up to work. Take the Earl of Stafford. In 1348, he paid farm laborers 1 penny a day. By 1350, he had to pay 2. And the neighbors? They were paying 3. The Earl was furious while the workers were thrilled. But money wasn't the only problem. Workers started asking for better food. More meat, more bread. A laborer could look a lord dead in the eye and say, "Pay me right or I walk." Try to picture that 1 year earlier. You'd get laughed off the field. Now, the lord was the one sweating. But wages going up is only half of it. A bigger number means nothing if bread costs more too. What matters is what the money actually buys. And a rural worker's real buying power jumped about 40%. More food, better clothes, actual choices. Pigeon bought 2 baguettes. Immediately started acting like Warren Buffett. For the first time ever, the little guy said the price. A pigeon holding actual power. It felt permanent. It felt like the way things would be now. Enjoy it, buddy. It won't last. The landlords had a problem, paying workers more. So did they just accept it? Of course not. They went to parliament, which sounds fair, until you learn who was in parliament. The landlords. The exact same rich pigeons paying the wages. The meeting minutes were probably us? Innocent. In 1351, they passed a law, the Statute of Labourers, signed off by King Edward III, and it was beautifully evil. First, it froze wages, not at current levels, at 1346 levels, the year before the plague even showed up. Basically, pretend the last 5 years never happened. Imagine your rent doubling now, and your boss saying, "For pay, we're using prices from 2019. Wait, I don't have to imagine it. It's happening now too. I'm screwed. Second, it made higher pay illegal to offer. So, a kind boss who wanted to pay more? Criminal. This part is evil, honestly. It doesn't just punish the worker for having the nerve to ask. It stops the whole market from ever moving. Nobody can compete for you, so nobody has to pay you more. Everybody's trapped together. Pigeon started updating his LinkedIn, then remembered it hadn't been invented yet. Poor Pigeon. Third, and this is the dark one, you could no longer leave. Walking to a better paying farm became a crime. Sheriffs would hunt down the runaways, drag them back, throw them in a cell, and the punishments got nasty. Fines, prison, and runaway serfs, sometimes branded on the forehead, a hot iron, so everyone knew you tried to leave. They even set up special judges to enforce it. Their whole job was catching workers who asked for too much. A full legal system built to make sure a farmhand never got a raise. Pigeon reads the law twice, so let me get this straight. The pigeons who make the rules wrote the rules to help themselves? Shocking, never happened before or since. And they weren't shy about it. Wages weren't too high in their view. Workers were just being greedy for wanting to survive. That was the actual argument. A worker asking for lunch money was a threat to society. The nerve on these guys? Truly world-class nerve. And look at the timeline. Workers got real power in 1348. By 1351, it was gone. 3 years. That's how long freedom lasted. The plague couldn't stop the workers. A piece of paper did. But pigeons don't forget being crushed. The anger just sat there for 30 years. Then in 1381, it exploded. The peasants revolt. Tens of thousands marched on London. They burned the legal documents. They took care of the chancellor. The young king promised to end serfdom, then broke every promise the second the danger passed. And historians point to one main cause. The biggest grievance was that same Statute of Labourers. The workers fought back. The system still won. Pigeon climbs back into the microwave, presses the button. Back to today. He cannot stop thinking about what happened. A plague gave workers power, and the bosses took it back on paper. Surely we don't do that anymore, right? Then Pigeon remembers something. We had our own plague in 2020. It was COVID. The world stopped. Offices closed, and everyone freaked out. But the same thing happened. Workers got rare. Restaurants couldn't find cooks. Warehouses couldn't fill shifts. The now hiring signs never came down. And for the first time in a very long time, pigeons could say no. They quit. Millions of them. They called it the Great Resignation. And look at what workers got. Wages went up fastest at the bottom. The lowest paid pigeons got the biggest raises. You could work from home or from wherever you wanted. Pigeon demanded to work from home too. Wait, he flips burgers at McDonald's. You cannot do that from home. Something is burning. Some moved out of cities they could never afford, bought a house, saw their kids. The rules bent, and for once, they bent our way. And just like before, it felt permanent. But it only lasted about 3 years, same as last time. Then the memo started. Return to office, 3 days a week, then 4, then 5. Then they asked if Pigeon could sleep there. Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, one after another. And the reasoning was beautiful. Collaboration, culture, innovation. Pigeon drove 90 minutes to sit on a video call with pigeons in other offices. Very collaborative. Great culture. Nobody passed a law this time. They didn't need one. A memo does the same job. And the job market turned. So you either come back or you leave. And leaving is not what it was in 2021. It's impossible to get a job. Now put the two pictures side by side. 1348, a plague kills a third of the workers. The survivors get power. The lords panic and write the Statute of Labourers. 2020, a plague stops the world. The survivors get power. The bosses panic and write the return to office memo. Back then, it was a hot iron on the forehead. Now, it's a badge scan at the door. Softer tools, exact same trick. Pigeon skipped the terms and conditions. Big mistake. But here's the honest part. Back then, wages did eventually rise. It just took 30 years of pain and a messy revolt to get there. The system couldn't stop the workers forever. The plague handed workers power by accident. But the second it happened, the pigeons at the top got to work. They changed the rules to put the power back where it started. Every time workers get real leverage, someone quietly writes a rule to take it back. It happened in 1348. It's happening right now. Pigeon looks at his time machine, then at his empty wallet. Maybe he didn't need a time machine at all. He didn't travel to a different world. It was the same one, just with worse teeth and a plague. And if you want to know why getting a job feels impossible, click the video on screen now. Subscribe to support Pigeon. He wants to work from home again.